You have a project that has been sitting on your list for months. You think about it constantly. You feel guilty about it constantly. You move it to next week constantly. But nothing changes. Here's the surprising diagnosis. The project is probably not stuck because it is difficult. It is stuck because the first step has never become clear enough to begin. And fixing that usually takes less than 5 minutes. The Wright Brothers did not create the first airplane through endless formal planning. They sketched, tested, adjusted, repeated. Steve Jobs developed the original Macintosh using whiteboards covered in rough ideas and evolving sketches. Surgeons preparing for difficult operations do not write giant project plans. They review key steps, mentally rehearse the procedure, and identify where complications are most likely. The pattern is consistent. The best planning is usually informal, fast, and specific enough to create movement, not perfect certainty. And that changes how stalled projects should be approached completely. David Allen identified 2 planning mistakes that quietly destroy projects. The first is over-planning. People spend hours building systems and giant plans for projects that needed 20 minutes of thinking. The plan becomes emotional comfort instead of operational movement. The second mistake is under-planning. A project gets added to a task list with one vague action attached to it. Nothing concrete, nothing visible, nothing physical. So the action never starts and the project stalls again. The task gets rewritten and the cycle repeats. Allen discovered that productive planning lives between these extremes. Just enough thinking to create clarity and momentum. And the easiest way to know whether a project needs more planning is simple. If the project still creates anxiety after you identify the next action, more thinking is required. Here is the exact 5-minute protocol for unsticking a stalled project. Step 1, write the project name at the top of a blank page. Step 2, finish this sentence. This project is done when, be specific, not vague. For example, not done when website is better, but done when the website is live and the client approves the final version. Step 3, write 3 to 5 bullet points describing what would need to happen to reach that outcome. Step 4, circle the next physical action. Not work on proposal, but open laptop, draft introduction paragraph. Step 5, add that action to your next actions list. That is the entire process. 5 minutes, 1 page, 1 clear action. And projects that have been frozen for months often begin moving within hours afterward. Here is the insight that changes everything. Project anxiety is data. That uncomfortable feeling around a stalled project is not proof that you are lazy or incapable. It is information. Your brain is signaling that the project lacks clarity. Most people respond incorrectly by using more discipline and more guilt. But anxiety around projects usually decreases through thinking, not foresees. The surgeon reviewing a procedure before entering the operating room is not expressing weakness. They are replacing uncertainty with clarity. That is what the 5-minute protocol does. It converts vague emotional resistance into visible structure, and once structure appears, momentum usually follows automatically. At this point, the protocol sounds almost too simple. So why do people avoid it? Because fully thinking about the project feels emotionally dangerous. Part of you knows that once you seriously engage with the project, you must decide whether it actually matters. And sometimes the protocol reveals something unexpected. You do not really want the project anymore. That is not failure. That is clarity. A project removed from your active system creates more relief than a project endlessly postponed. Sometimes the 5-minute conversation reveals how to move forward. Sometimes it reveals permission to let go. Both outcomes are productive. Here is what happens when this becomes part of your weekly review. You scan your projects list and most projects feel clear and moving. A few feel vague, heavy, and uncomfortable. Those are the projects needing 5 more minutes of thinking. So during the review, you run the protocol immediately. Project name, done statement, 3 bullets, clear next action. 15 minutes later, 3 stalled projects suddenly have direction again. Nothing is lurking invisibly in the background anymore.